Alright, so we got the trilogy here. So it's Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. Obviously the biggest star in the sport, the biggest fight of the year, in my opinion. And yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so break down the striking of these two. So both these guys come into the southpaw. Dustin Poirier, he likes to use boxing primarily. He's got clean boxing, nice hands. Conor McGregor, he has been using a lot of boxing lately, but he does have a few styles that he can go to. And when Conor McGregor's using his hands, he has very fluid hands, and he's a sniper with that straight right. And I do think if I had to pick someone with a speed advantage here, I think it would be Conor McGregor by a fair bit. And Conor McGregor is very good at controlling distance. Like, he loves that bounce back two. He's constantly looking for that bounce back two, that pull two, pretty much. Poirier, he will drop his lead hand after popping out the jab, so he does need to watch out for that. Just has his lead hand low basically at all times, so he's got to watch out for that because Conor McGregor, he does have a very good left hand. Conor McGregor likes the pull two, the long jab. He gets the full extension on his straight punches, but sometimes can overextend, and he will overextend on the straight left quite frequently if the opponent does have decent movement. And he was putting his hands together nicely in the early start of the rematch. He was going for that 1-2, 1-2-3s. He likes to use those combinations, extend his combinations when he's versing a southpaw. I really like that straight left to a lead uppercut combination that he used in the first fight. I think that was his best combination of the whole fight. You'll know I think it was in the first round. He sat on the two and then came up with a lead uppercut, and that connected because Dustin Poirier, he does leave his rear hand low at times. But yeah, Conor just has very fluid hands when he lets it go, very fluid boxing. But the story of the second fight was the low calf kick. And Dustin Poirier, he was attacking that outside low calf kick, the inside low calf kick. He likes to finish his boxing combinations with a low calf kick. And Conor McGregor, he's very heavy on the lead leg, and he didn't check many leg kicks in the first fight, or the second fight. But yeah, it was a huge weapon for Dustin Poirier here, and Conor McGregor, he's going to have to change something up if he wants to avoid the same fate that he got in the second fight. Dustin Poirier, he has nice hands as well. Nice 1-2, 1-2-3s. He was hitting a few of those. Check right hook on Conor McGregor in the second fight. Nice pull two as well. He's got good hands as well. And when he gets opponents in front of him who are just standing right in front of him and not really moving too much with their footwork and, they're tired or whatnot, he looks to sit down on his punches when they're standing right in front of him. And you don't want to be tired in front of, or, without a lead leg against Dustin Poirier, because that's when he starts really sitting down his punches and trying to knock your head off. And if Conor McGregor gets tired in the later rounds, Dustin Poirier is going to be looking to really put some damage on him with his hands. So, you can't really get tired in front of this guy. I think Gagey got tired and, he started teeing off on Gage. He finished him in the fourth round. Guy's got a lot of heart. He's going to be trying to put you out, at any round, even if fourth, fifth, whatever. And Conor McGregor, when he does get hurt, he has really bad body language. He has a bad poker face. When he does get hurt, or when he does get tired, you can see it. You can see it in his body language, especially when he's tired. But when he's hurt as well. Quickly break down the grappling of these two. So for Dustin Poirier, his takedowns aren't great. He does have a double leg that he'll drive onto the fence. He will cut an angle to finish the driving double, but yeah, mostly the blast double or, drive it to the fence and then finish from there. Conor McGregor, he does have good get-ups near the fence. He will butt scoot to the fence, to the nearest cage side once he does get taken down, and he'll use the fence to get up from there. The guy does have good get-ups. Khabib is just that good at controlling people on the ground. How these guys win fights? So for Conor McGregor, he's got the touch of death in his straight left. He's got insane power in that straight, in the left hand in general. Not to mention the accuracy as well. Very accurate with the left hand. He also has a good chin as well. I think Dustin Poirier has shown a really good chin as well at lightweight. And both these guys have killer instinct. When they get their opponent hurt, they will go for the finish, and they know when they smell blood. Also, Dustin Poirier, he's got considerable power in both hands as well. You can't sleep on Dustin Poirier's power. How these guys lose fights? So for Conor McGregor, he has subpar cardio, in my opinion. Past to victory for these two. So for Dustin Poirier, look to feint more. You know, Conor McGregor, he has a very high striking IQ, so you got to mix in the feints as the fight goes on, or he's going to get the read. You know, you can't just keep doing the same feint over and over again. He's not going to fall for it. Also, just pump out the jabs. Watch out for the slip 2. He loves that slip 2 or the slide back 2. So just watch out for that when you're throwing jabs. Also, just nothing loopy. You know, you didn't have any success when you're throwing those big overhand rights, the big overhand lefts and the big, right hooks. His upper body movement and his head movement is too good in the first few rounds for you to just, go swinging for the bleachers. So just keep it all straight early on, and then maybe you can, go crazy later on. Also look for that tight right hook when he overextends. You hit him with that a few times in the second fight. That nice check right hook when he was, at full extension and a little bit off balance. So that caught him a couple times, and I think that's a good weapon for you here. Obviously, the low calf kicks, had so much success with that in the first fight, so just keep going to that. Also the switch body kick, switch high kick, and look for that when he does slow down in the later rounds, which I suspect he will. Look for that switch body kick, switch high kick, and put some damage on him with that. And for Conor McGregor, obviously you got to address that leg kick. You got to get the lead leg out of the way. You got to shuffle back, or you got to check him. You got to do something. And for Dustin Poirier, if Conor McGregor is going to be shuffling back, or moving that lead leg out of the way, if you think his balance is compromised when he is moving the lead leg out of the way, then come back with a combination after he dodges the leg kick. So yeah, it's like a counter to his counter, and then he's, how many steps ahead is he? That's the battle there. But also for Conor McGregor, throw some leg kicks of your own to the calf, not the thigh where you usually throw them. No one's gonna get severely compromised by throwing, kicks to the thigh. It's just not gonna happen. But yeah, also more of your right hand. I think the lead uppercuts are on. Dustin Poirier, he generally does have his rear hand low, so I think the rear uppercut was a really nice shot that you hit him with in the first fight or second fight, and I think you should go back to it. Also look to pace yourself. Don't go too crazy in the first round or the second round. Pace yourself. It's a 5-round fight. Dustin Poirier, a lot of clinching, a lot of wrestling. Well, early on, look to tire him out. Look to tire him out in the clinch early on, as you did in the first fight. Mix in takedowns. Try and sit in his guard. Go to work. You don't need to posture up or anything, but just short elbows, short ground and pound. Also, just look to catch a kick. If he's going to throw one, throws a body kick, throws a leg kick of his own, look to catch one of those, work a single leg, take him down. And in the clinch, or just in scrambles, I really don't hate jumping guillotine. Conor seems to panic in submissions when you do get him there. And, you can probably get back to your feet. Like, it's not like Conor McGregor's going to Khabib you on top, so I really don't hate defending gilly. I mean, just jumping gilly. It's obviously last resort, but, we'll see how we go. Alright, how I see the fight going. So, the trilogy, the best fight of the year, of course, obviously. The fight's going to have the most eyes on it. Probably, for the rest of the year. McGregor's, obviously, he's going to have to make some changes to his style, to his, he's going to have to make some adjustments, as he did in the Diaz rematch, where he came in, looking completely different. But what adjustment can he realistically be making? Like, the changes that he's going to have to make, they're going to have to be drastic. Historically, like immediate rematches, they haven't fared too well for the loser of the previous fight. And it's not like it was a lucky punch or anything. It was a game plan that they came in with, and they really executed it, and, McGregor just wasn't ready for it. It's going to be very difficult to defend leg kicks if he maintains that boxing heavy approach, which he has done, for quite some time. And will they go back to the karate style stance that he employed, earlier in his career? Still, the leg kicks would be a problem if he was just going to be southpaw. I wouldn't be surprised if he came out in orthodox just to totally mix things up, but that, takes away his moneymaker, his left hand, so probably not happening. Like, I'm not one that reads too heavily into body language and interviews and stuff like that and what people are saying, but, when McGregor fights, you kind of have to take that into effect because the psychological aspect is such a big part of it. And what it seems like to me is that McGregor isn't as motivated as before, as you would be. Like, dude hit the jackpot with the Floyd Mayweather fight. Like, his kids, they're all set for life. But, he doesn't seem as motivated to me anymore, and he seems to be only interested in like boxing with his opponent in a boxing match basically. But you know, this is MMA. Like, he doesn't mix it up at all anymore. He used to go for takedowns. He used to throw a lot more kicks. He doesn't do that stuff anymore. He's become very one-dimensional, and I think the top fighters and the people that he's facing are starting to figure him out. Alright, so if you look at Conor's previous fights, or his recent fights, you know, he was looking good in round 1 versus Dustin, for sure. Looked very good. Although Dustin did get him down on the only takedown attempt that he tried, you know, Conor was able to get back to his feet and won the striking exchanges. But, you know, if you want to keep Conor down, you're going to have to take him down in the middle of the cage or stay very tight on top. Like, the guy is hard to hold down. And yeah, about 15 leg kicks later, you know, Conor couldn't walk. And it was, you know, that's 1.5 rounds. Conor couldn't walk, and Poirier just teed off on him after that. You know, that Cerrone fight, Cerrone is just horrendously washed. Like, that doesn't count. And Cerrone didn't even show up to fight. Like, that was the most pathetic performance I've ever seen. But yeah, and Khabib, fair enough. Khabib's the GOAT lightweight. You know, there's no shame in that performance. He put up a valiant effort, but Khabib's just that good. And Khabib was switched on that night. And then Eddie Alvarez, you know, probably one of the most fortunate with timing champs of all time. You know, beat, no disrespect, but he beat a journeyman in RDA who won the title by beating Anthony Pettis. So, you know, one of the most fortunate champs, in my opinion. I didn't really consider him, you know, championship material, but, you know, he won on the night, so it is what it is. Also, Eddie is just completely washed now as well. He's won, since they fought, he's won 2 fights out of 7. So, he's washed. And yeah, could have been, I think, what was he, like 34, 35 at the time? But then he had those fights where he got taken the hell and back by Nate Diaz, which have just aged like milk. Like, everyone knows how terrible Nate Diaz now. Like, Nate Diaz he's terrible. He's a horrible fighter. Like, he's not a good fighter. You should really putting that guy away. But, you know, that featherweight run, that was magical. That was the best time to be a UFC fan, in my opinion. But yeah, that was amazing. He's undoubtedly one of the most special fighters that I've ever faced or have ever graced the octagon. But, you know, he just hasn't looked the same since that Floyd Mayweather fight. Like, after that Eddie Alvarez fight, he just hasn't looked the same since. And all the logic in the world is telling me that Dustin is going to win. Like, the leg kicks destroyed Conor in the second fight. Conor's going to have to basically transform his striking style if he doesn't want that to happen again. Dustin took all of Conor's shots, you know, in round 1 and, you know, early on too. And Dustin's chin at 155, it's phenomenal. Like, it hasn't been cracked in a while, and he's just really, you know, he's showed a really good chin at 155. Also, I just don't have too much faith in McGregor's gas tank. Like, generally he has 2 good rounds in him, and then he starts to slow. And I think that was going to happen in this rematch as well. And when he starts to slow down, you know, he has terrible body language. He lets you know he looks fatigued. Like, he doesn't have a great poker face. And I think Dustin just fights through fatigue much better than Conor. And I think, you know, when you get tired, when you have a super yacht just sitting outside, and, you know, you have the nicest sheets that a man can buy, and, you know, huge bed, and just everything is just on a platter for you because you've earned it all as well. But, you know, the guy's just super rich. Honestly, if I was that rich, I probably would just be calling out bums, and I'd be fighting bums because that would be fun. But obviously that is the difference between me and McGregor. But, you know, still, it's hard to push yourself in those. I bet it would be hard to push yourself in those training sessions when, you know, you've just got everything that you ever want in life right there, and, you know, do you want to put that extra mile in? But, you know, that's what makes him great. You know, he's still doing it. But yeah, you know, normally Conor McGregor's takedown defenses look very good, and you got to chain 2-3 techniques, like, if you want to get him down. But Dustin took him down quite easily, so I don't see why he can't do that again. You know, at least a few times in the trilogy. Also, just clinching a lot is going to drain the gas tank of Conor McGregor. I expect Conor to win the first 2 rounds, at quite a decent clip. I think, you know, it's going to be competitive, but Conor McGregor obviously just landing the better shots. And then I think Poirier is going to take over and put it on him late in the fight. And I think he's going to finish him in the 4th round. Alright, so if you guys could please like the video, really helps with the YouTube algorithm, gets the channel out, would, you know, mean the world to me if you did that. Prediction is Poirier by TKO round 4. I think he wins around 65% of the time. I'm going to bet Poirier at anything above $1.70 or minus 145. Other bets I was looking at was just a live bet, Justin Poirier. You know, after round 1 or 2, I think that's when he's going to really take over in this fight. As a hedge, I guess you could look at McGregor in round 1. That's where 64% of his wins come from. So, where is that? McGregor in round 1. I was kind of hoping for like $6, but yeah, I probably wouldn't bet it. I was kind of hoping for $6 or plus 500, but not really loving, you know, $5 or plus 400. Is there a McGregor wins in round 1 or 2? Where is that? No, it's Poirier. Whatever. But yeah, if there's any books that do McGregor wins in round 1 or 2 at $4 or plus 300, I'd hit that. But it doesn't seem like that price would be there, considering the round 1 price.